Good morning. Did you sleep okay? Are you still kind of sleeping? Yeah, you're all tucked in? Okay. Love you. I love you. Okay. Oh. See ya. See ya. Creepers. Good morning to ya. It is early in the morning or afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. As I do appreciate you guys tuning in, as always, for another creepy crawl, creepy adventure, creepy walk and talk, however you want to call it. I do appreciate you guys for always tuning in. Speaking of creepiness, we are halfway to Halloween, which is awesome. And seems like fall's been here the whole time here in Oregon. Haven't had that many nice days in the works yet, but today is going to be another story. I do have a hoodie on, but I'm hoping to kind of shed the layers as the day progresses. They said there's supposed to be some 70-degree weather coming up the next 3 or 4 days, so I'm stoked for that. Got me my coffee from Plaid Pantry this morning. I needed it so bad I couldn't even make it to Starbucks. Normally I'll make the extra journey, but the Plaid's a little closer, so they got me this morning. I actually ran out of creamer, so I feel like either milk, no cereal, cereal, no milk, coffee, no sugar, sugar, no milk or cream. Usually I can MacGyver up something good, but when you're not working with all the right stuff, it's pretty hard. You know, throw some water on that cereal and eat it. Reminds me of Friday. You got milk, no cereal. You know, waffles, no syrup. I don't know. You just gotta make the best of things. So anyways, we're doing some creeping. Got me some coffee, and we are heading into Troutdale, Oregon for another really awesome story, kind of a crime story about two, I would say, knuckleheads that tried to, well, they did rob a bank, and it went horribly wrong. You're gonna want to stay tuned. It's a good one. I don't mean to laugh, it's just, I tell you, world's stupidest criminals. We are here in the heart of downtown Troutdale, Oregon, and right behind me now sits a law firm office, an attorney, built in 1920, opening May of 1920. That same year, this very place right here was hit with an historic moment that Troutdale will never forget. In fact, it rocked the whole downtown area here just a year after it was opened. That's right, opening May of 1920, just about a year after this bank here. Well, it was a bank, it's now a law office, originally designed as a bank. About a year later, on April 20th at 3:30 a.m., two bandits would try and, well, they did. They robbed the place. And what makes this story really interesting is the gentleman entered the bank through the back window here. There's no longer windows here, but back in the day there would have been a little back entrance. They actually broke the window out and were able to get inside the bank and all the way back to the vault. And what next would happen would shock the entire downtown area. Everybody along here would have felt the blast. These two knuckleheads actually had a plan that they were going to sprinkle nitroglycerin on the safe in order to, you know, blast it open. And they used too much, that's right. The nitroglycerin that they used was a little too potent for the metals on the safe, which in fact blew the safe open, actually blew the whole bank to smithereens, blew the vault wide open, and literally rocked this whole entire neighborhood from the explosion. And as you can see, there is windows on this side. So I'm guessing maybe this was the entrance here in the back that they originally entered But yeah, making their way inside the bank to the vault and not realizing how much of the nitroglycerin they would sprinkle on the safe would actually blow the place to smithereens. In fact, it knocked the entire facade loose and blew the entire back side and a lot of the front side off. So they had to reconstruct most of all of this. And I'm kind of noticing on the foundation down here, it is a little bit of a different texture. I don't know if that's maybe from the blast or not. But yeah, this rocked this whole neighborhood. And in fact, the gentlemen that were the bank robbers were caught not too far from here down the way. And one of the gentlemen actually had a ton of explosion material and, you know, footprints and everything like that from the blast. So it was pretty easy to determine that he was the man that did it. But yeah, this is where it all happened, right here at this law office, which is kind of funny because it does still look like a bank to me. I mean, the facade is still pretty cool looking. Most of the downtown area here in Troutdale has that like historic look. But they've done us one better here and actually entered a little placard here for some more info. So this was actually the Troutdale State Bank, the city's second bank, and opened this building June 1st of 1920. So the following April in 1921 is when it would have happened, on April 20th. The first financial institution, Bank of Troutdale, owned by the town's founding Harlow family. He failed under suspicious circumstances in 1913. Herman Bloyd, who also served as mayor, founded and built the Troutdale State Bank. And here it is. A huge explosion roused the town early on an April morning. A year after the bank's founding, well-known criminal Archie McCoy and Confederates used too much nitroglycerin in an unsuccessful attempt to blow the safe, unlocking the building's walls 4 inches out of plumb and leaving McCoy stunned. Bloyd rebuilt but closed the Troutdale State Bank in 1935 in the Depression. Security Bank, the third bank, was locally organized in 1955 in a building east of here, but eventually closed due to different institutions merging. On its last day business of 1988, Security Bank was robbed again. So this place was robbed twice, just a year after it was opened, and then here again in 1988. So maybe that was the deciding point to go ahead and maybe change this from, you know, an actual bank to a law office, or maybe another style of business later on here. But yeah, that is crazy. And in fact, it blew, I've got pictures which I'll insert here. It actually blew this whole facade back. And also in the back here, you could see where the safe was located. It basically blew the entire siding of the building out and really rocked this whole downtown area. So pretty cool. I'm glad that they put this placard here too for more info. And I'm just gonna kind of peek the camera in here. And I'm guessing maybe in the back there is where the vault would have been. Yep, now an attorney office here. And I'm noticing there is an old-timey picture there against the wall. I don't know if you guys can see kind of the rendition of the bank in the 20s. So I imagine with so much nitroglycerin actually blowing the sides of this place off and the front off, I bet most of these buildings down here were shook by it, almost like an earthquake. And the police officers that were on scene were trying to figure out who did it, but it was pretty easy to figure out who did it just because the gentleman that they found not too far from here, like I said, he was covered in the kind of, you know, dust and all the explosion from the remnants of all the cement and everything like that. But there you have it.
And I also just read a little article here stating A.D. Kendall, whose house was directly across the highway from the bank, was awakened by the shock and came to his door with a shotgun in hand. Seeing an automobile without lights heading towards Portland a few hundred yards down the highway, he emptied both barrels into the air. He did not fire at the car, fearing it might not contain the actual, people that robbed it. But it later developed that the automobile he had seen was driven by a neighbor, Milton Fox, a local grocer of the area. He was rushing for a telephone to notify the sheriff's office and actually had taken his headlights down for protection.
Yep, definitely love the layout of this city. Really pretty. All right, let's cross.
And one last little interesting tale about this story. Not only the bank being exploded once and reopening and then it robbed again in '88, Archie McCoy was never charged. That's right, he was already on parole. He was sent to prison for 5 years on a revoked parole, but it was a hung jury. He walked. That's going to do it for today. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. You can ring that bell down below. That way when I creep, you guys will be the first to creep. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Till next time, Creeper out for now. Peace.